Parents, have you ever had that moment where you're just thinking, why, child, will you not do what's being asked of you? Where is your motivation? I'm sure we've all been there. And if we haven't been there yet, we will probably be there at some point. So understanding motivation is really important. There are two main types of motivation. There's extrinsic motivation and intrinsic motivation. So extrinsic motivation is I am inspired to do something because of something external outside of me. Maybe I am getting a treat every time I do something, or maybe I'm getting a sticker that's going to build to a bigger treat every time I do something. That's extrinsic motivation. It can be good for short pieces of changing behavior. But long term, it doesn't have a great effect. The long term effect comes from that intrinsic piece. And we are all born intrinsically motivated. So it's just something we have to nurture and grow and build as the adults around a child. So what does that look like? Intrinsic motivation, one of the best theories I found is called self-determination theory, and it is by a man called Edward Dietschy. He wrote this book, Why We Do What We Do, and he wrote this back in the 90s. What's cool about this is that he's actually a lot of his theories and things have been connected to the way that we are learning about the way the brain is working. So he said there are three main pieces to self-determination, and I'm going to bring you on a little vision journey right now. So imagine your child as a seed, okay, and we've planted them in the ground, and they're full of all of the potential. The first thing to grow is roots. That's our intrinsic motivation. That's where we're going to build all of our nutrients to continue growing. So we have our seed, and it's planted, and we have roots growing. So the first root is autonomy. Autonomy is the first part of self-determination theory, and it simply means I am in control. The locus of control resides within me. So you may know and be familiar with a parenting strategy called Love and Logic. And Jim Fay built that around autonomy, giving your child choice. So when you have choices, you're more likely to do what's asked. So if you're told you must go to bed, or you're told you can read for 5 minutes and then go to bed, or you can just go to bed. You're given a choice, and that choice is motivating. So whatever your child chooses at that point, you will get to control because you're giving them that choice. Autonomy. Think about, as an adult, a micromanager who doesn't give you any choices, and what does that do to your motivation to do that work? Oftentimes it's quite stifling. Okay, so another piece of another branch of self-determination theory is called competence. Competence is simply, do I have the skills that I'm expected to have to do what's being asked? So competence. As a teacher, if I was asked to perform open heart surgery, I would not have any, I do not have the skills to do that. So I lack competence and therefore not be motivated to perform open heart surgery. So think about this in terms of reading for a child. If a child doesn't have all of the pre-reading skills in place and they're solid, they probably will be a reluctant reader. So competence is where we see a lot of educational theorists coming in with ideas about how to build skill. Lev Vygotsky is one that he said there's a zone of proximal development, and every child has a baseline of things that they can do on their own. Then they have this other space where they can do things with the support and guidance of a peer or a parent or another adult. And then they have this final point that's just frustrating no matter how much support they get. So the golden spot, the place that we want to be as operating to build skill, is within that space. So we need to know where our child is, and then we need to know the next step, and we need to be giving them the guidance and the practice to do that, to build their competence. The last piece of self-determination is relatedness. Now, as human beings, we are naturally social. We are hardwired to be social creatures. So relatedness refers to our relationship with ourselves, our relationship with others, and our relationship with the world around us. So relatedness may deal with relevance of a topic. Does the child feel buy-in toward learning about reading? It could be related to, do I have the confidence? Do I have a positive self-image that I can do things? And it is also, do I have the respect and do I have the relationship, the positive relationship of the person that is asking me to do this? So all of those pieces play into motivation. As you explore working with your child as they get older, and as you even potentially want to self-reflect about your experiences, think about each of these areas and think, where is the stuckness and how can I change it to unstick? Okay, so motivation is really important, and developing that strong intrinsic piece will help grow a lifelong learner. And autonomy, competence, and relatedness are three main ways to do that.